Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Somewhere Show. Today is Monday, December 8th. It is indeed morning somewhere because wherever you are, whenever you listen, hopefully you're not listening live. Otherwise, you're thinking, wow, these guys are super late. Listen, it is always a good now. And we made it, right, guys?
We did, and it always is a good now.
Today's theme is teamwork making the dream work, right?
Yeah, no matter, you know what? This is why it's great. 3 is a strong number. It's 3 sides makes a strong shape, a triangle. Yeah. There's 3 of us. You know, nothing can take us down.
Nothing.
There's statistically, it is almost impossible for one of us to not at least be able to host this show. And you know what? That's the type of disaster recovery protocol we have here at the Rise Up Morning Show.
Mm-hmm. Almost impossible, but they were really trying today, weren't they, fellas?
They really were. Wow.
Okay, then let's leave the ado for later and get right into it. If you have got a crypto question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, you know what I'm going to say, then drop it in the comments below. And if you don't get your question answered, if we run out of time, because imagine, then head on over to community.rumshq.com. It's the place the show lives 24/7, and where the only thing missing is you. So, guys, what's going on? What's happened over the weekend? What's on your docket as you look at the crypto market and the wild and wonderful world of Web3 today?
Ooh, I'm excited for this week because this week we have the Fed. Woo! Woo-hoo.
I thought for sure you were going to say Luca Netz, but also the Fed.
We also have Luca Netz today, but you know. I'm also very excited to talk about Pudgy Penguins and all that with Luca Netz, the CEO of Pudgy Penguins, tonight. That's going to be pretty sweet at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everyone tune in for that. We should promote that a little bit too.
We'll talk about it in a second. Tell me about the Fed. We'll get the Fed out of the way first.
So the Fed on Wednesday, they will be making a decision about rate cuts, and it looks like they certainly will be cutting rates. But the really interesting part is going to be Jerome Powell's speech afterwards, because those who don't know, quantitative tightening officially ended. Right? Quantitative tightening is the time where the Fed makes it a little bit harder to get and find money to go and do stuff, right? Is just one way to think about it. And that ended on December 1st. Technically what they did is they stopped reducing their balance sheet. They stopped letting assets that were coming to maturity just kind of be released into the market. So the amount of things the Fed held on their balance sheet, treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, were coming down. That ended. So now it's just flat. So with the job market in the US getting worse, which I've been talking about for quite some time was going to happen near the end of this year. It's funny when you work with some of the largest employers in the world and they're all like, hey, well, we're firing a whole bunch of people by the end of Christmas, Christmas and New Year's. And I come on here and I'm like, hey, guess what? Crazy. And so with that really bad jobs, kind of unemployment increase that's expected to come over the next month or two, combined with the Bank of Japan hiking rates on, what is the date? December 18th, December 19th, the Fed and Jerome Powell might come out and say, we'll go full quantitative easing in like January, February, which means we're going to start buying stuff. And that would be very, very, very exciting for markets and might be enough to outweigh the really negative news that's coming this month of Japan hiking rates. So it's really interesting and it's very exciting. So tune in for Jerome Powell's speech, or don't, because it's not the most exciting thing unless you're me. Watch my update video that I'll post like 10 minutes afterwards.
Okay.
It's not as exciting unless I'm you or unless I'm watching you talk about it. When you're talking about it, Will, I find myself engaged. So don't stop believing.
Yeah. Don't stop.
A knows investing says no hawkish rate cut. Please, no way we get QE in January, though. What do you think?
I think it's definitely less likely. But, you know, you're looking for any type of language from Jerome Powell about, because they're going to ask him. They're going to ask a question and be like, hey, the Fed, since we last spoke, has stopped quantitative tightening. When are you looking to do quantitative easing? And he might say, we're going to take a look at the data. But he also might say like, hey, maybe like Q2 or like, Q1 or something like that. Like any kind of inclination that it's close-ish will be very exciting news to the market and might be enough to extend the rally in crypto to not just a buy the rumor, sell the news of rate cuts but a buy the rumor, maybe sell the news, and then the speech comes out and everyone's like, quantitative easing. And, maybe we're able to continue up a little bit. But, that's what we're looking for. And every single time the Fed comes out and talks, and it's Jerome Powell, we are looking for a little hint about when quantitative easing will officially start, because we're getting really close.
And do you think, I don't know, Jerome Powell, he's kind of a steady as she goes, less excitement is a good thing kind of guy. But do you think now that this is the first time he's speaking since Trump has nominated his replacement? Is that correct, or am I wrong there?
That's the first, yeah, correct.
There's usually not a lot of political drama around such a thing, right? I don't expect him to come out and be like, well, it's not going to change his trajectory. His job is to get this ship safe into harbor and basically keep things boring.
Yeah, I mean, also, Jerome Powell's job was done in May, no matter what. So he's just my replacement was named because
but I didn't mean
job in May.
I didn't mean because he was trying to preserve his job. I mostly meant because it seems like this Mark, what's his name? I've forgotten it already. Is more of a let's turn the money printers on and do the opposite. I just I don't have much precedent because I don't follow this soap opera for how incoming and outgoing Fed chairs interact with each other's potential policy.
No, well, here's the thing, is when the Fed leaves and then someone comes in and replaces the Fed, this guy who's going to be the head of the Fed, I also forget his name, but we can look that up.
Yeah.
But he is coming from outside of the Fed. So they're hiring from outside, essentially. So when he comes in, he won't be making decisions for the first few Fed meetings. It's going to be everyone else around him Kevin Hassett, thank you, Bearded. Kevin Hassett won't be making the decisions out the gate. It's going to be the board. Because he's not going to know how the Fed operates because he hasn't existed in the Fed. He won't be making the decisions. It'll be the board for the first meeting or two, and then as he's ramped up, he'll start having more influence. So the decisions that come out of the Fed once Jerome Powell's replaced won't really be Kevin Hassett's decisions.
Got it. Thank you for making the complex clear. We have a couple of comments I'd like to highlight. Shout out to Bearded for the assist, who is also the chief carrot officer, letting us know that DeFi carrot today is at 5.80% APY for the first time he's seen it that low. But love this comment, still beating my bank.
I have to say that it makes me so bullish on just the future of DeFi in general that we're sitting here lamenting an annual percentage yield of 5.8% on our dollars as being the lowest I've ever seen when it's still orders of magnitude better than literally the best high yield savings account ever.
Correct.
And Bearded also had a quick question that I'm gonna segue. We mentioned Luca Netz, so hold tight. You got to be teased a little longer. This is a really good question. And then Alex, I know you got something a little drama to dip us into. So Bearded asked about an integration he read about this weekend. Can you explain the collaboration of Exodus and Metamask and what it means for us? Good question. If you missed the news, I'm finding this on a press release. You guys can let me know if there's more to come. But Exodus and Metamask are both leading self-custody wallets. And now they're partnering on what they call a swap aggregation tool. This is developed by ExoSwap. They have a bridge functionality, which basically means a computer program that lets you move assets or information from one blockchain to another. The same way you might use a file converter to turn your PDF into a Word document so that you can open it in a computer program on your desktop, that kind of thing. This is mostly a press release thing. Every wallet, every exchange, they want to have competitive advantages to keep you on their platform. That's their business. When you do stuff with them, they make money. So the integration is like a signal of strategic alignment between these competitors, Exodus and MetaMask. And it looks like it's kind of opening the door to a bigger partnership. MetaMask's parent company is called Consensus. And they do a lot of different stuff. It sounds like they're working to integrate this swap, which is Exodus's swap aggregator, and also a piece of technology called Servo, which is Consensus's AAVE protection product. Basically, the takeaway in plain English is MetaMask has a really good cost-saving feature. Exodus has a really good conversion tool, and they thought they could be more competitive by working together to capture more market share in the wallet industry. Doesn't really mean anything for you is going to change, except maybe your user experience on MetaMask or on Exodus is going to be a little bit better. So good question. Thank you for the input. Will, I teased it earlier, but do you want to do the honors of telling the folks more about who our guest is on the show tonight?
I would love to, and I feel like I've done so much research on him. I know him closer than some family members.
Seriously.
Yeah, we have Luca Netz on the show tonight. I think we have him for a full hour or so, but he's the CEO of Pudgy Penguins. And I'm really interested in, letting you guys hear the story of Pudgy Penguins and like why and how it's not just a meme coin in the business and how they're expanding and all that kind of stuff. And then also just to like talk about like meme coin culture and everything from someone who's like the king of all meme coins right now, as well as somebody who's getting congressmen and senators to change their profile pictures into Pudgy Penguins, someone who's taken an IP that started in this Web3 crypto space and now has toys in Amazon. Walmart has toys with D-Brick, just announced a collaboration with Care Bears the other day. Like all of these crazy like IP expansions, right? And it's about taking a Web3 brand that should have been a total shitter, right? Honestly, like an NFT meme coin, like they all kind of go to shit for the most part, 99.9% of them, and turning it into not just a real tangible business, but turning it into the fastest growing IP in the world. And also it'll be fascinating to talk to him about like, hey, someone who is not just the head of a Web3 company, but somebody who's the head of like a meme coin and an NFT project and also a layer 2, like so much of what is deemed to be success is measured by like bull market type stuff, like price going up, floor price going up. And right now, this Q4 hasn't really been great. So like, how do you as a business leader of this kind of Web3 business handle that? Like, how do you focus? Like, what are the internal cultural changes and tidal waves you have to kind of surf correctly? That's a little bit more unique than maybe a Web2 business. Like, I'm really interested in talking to him about running the business and what it's like in this Web3 space when you're so just being thrown about by, tariff wars, like the Melania Trump coin sucking up liquidity, this Q4 really being total shit for crypto when it's supposed to be great, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be really, really interesting to understand what it's like to navigate this space when you're in that monumental of a ship and you have your hands on the wheel. That'll be really fun. So if you guys are interested in learning about that and maybe just learning a little bit as to like why you might want to pay attention to Pudgy Penguins going forward and all the stuff they're building, tune in.
Beautiful. That's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you are, whenever you listen. We would really love your help in welcoming Luca Netz to the show. So thank you very much. We've got a really good couple of questions coming in here, and I would actually kind of, Alex, before I ask you to explain some of the drama that happened over the weekend, I'd like to kick this question to you if it's okay. What is the difference, Alex, in a meme coin and an NFT?
Well, they're both excellent vehicles for speculation. So there's the big similarity. The fundamental difference is just that they are entirely different types of tokens. You could meme, you could make an NFT of a meme, I guess, but the way that people generally think about it, meme coins are fungible. NFTs are, as the name implies, non-fungible, meaning that they are all unique pieces in a larger collection. Usually it was 10,000, but people did all sorts of different numbers in collections. It can be literally anything. Meme coins, much more liquid, much more volatile, much more prone to all of the good old-fashioned manipulations and scams and all that kind of stuff. NFTs are really just a way to mark a piece of digital property as being unique. And so people created a whole bunch of, Pudgy Penguins are a great example, right? They were originally created to just be, cute little profile pictures of penguins by, I don't even remember who originally created it. Ended up being a scam. Luca bought it, turned the whole thing around and turned it into this big gargantuan empire. Meme coins, it's pretty easy to spin them up at this point. I think, what does it ultimately cost you? Like the price of gas on Sol.
Pennies or less.
So, they're both tokens. They're both different kinds of tokens. They both behave differently. You can do different things with them, but at the end of the day, they're kind of both just repeatedly used as vehicles for speculation.
And just like a visual, I wish I had my whiteboard, but the umbrella, I would say, and let's use Pudgy Penguins as the example. Intellectual property is like the big umbrella, right? Brand, intellectual property. And then inside that brand, you might have different types of tokens, like the non-fungible token collection of Pudgy Penguins, where there are all these tokens that are tied to a piece of digital art and are used to act as like a membership, a status, an identity symbol within the intellectual property community of Pudgy Penguins. That's separate from their physical toys, and it would be separate from the Pudgy Penguins meme token, where every unit of the Pudgy token, they can all stand in for each other and they're all worth the same. Different NFTs might be tied to different pieces of art. They have a different ownership history, and they might have different value depending on their affiliation with that bigger story. We had a friend last cycle, Alex, who bought the only Pudgy Penguin token tied to a piece of art that faced left. And therefore it was like particularly rare in the collection of official Pudgy Penguin art. And he paid, what was it, $400,000 at the time?
Six.
Correct.
Dang. So it was worth more to him than other pieces of non-fungible tokens in that collection, other pieces of art in that collection, because of its uniqueness, its rarity, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Really good question.
I also just want to touch on, because I saw the same follow-up question from the same person. It was like, oh, is an NFT like on the server, or is like the picture on the server or the blockchain? So a few things to clear up there. A, blockchain. Second of all, NFTs are not pictures, but pictures can be NFTs. So an NFT, like Alex said, is a record of ownership on the blockchain. And it is a record of ownership that is digital. And that can be a whole bunch of stuff. It can be a profile picture. It can be the Pudgy Penguin or the Bored Ape, or just like any kind of like profile picture that if you're like, oh, I've seen and heard about NFTs, and you probably just saw like pictures in art. It can be art. It can also be a textbook, a digital textbook online, right? I think a great example is like, hey, college textbooks are super, super expensive. If you remember when you were there, you have kids and you're paying for them, they're expensive. But you could have like a digital textbook that could be way, way, way cheaper. It retains its physical condition because it's digital, and then at the same time it also opens up a whole new avenue of cash flow for these companies, which is why they would offer it for cheaper. We don't have to go into details, but it could also be a concert ticket. It can be your Fortnite character's skin in a video game. Anything that is digital can be an NFT, right? So a picture, an NFT is not a picture can be an NFT. An NFT is so much more based off of the foundation of a record of digital ownership.
Yeah, it's the ability to effortlessly, errorlessly prove a distinction and information related to a digital thing. It has never been possible in the history of humanity to do this with digital artifacts. And we can extend these properties to physical artifacts where being able to prove something effortlessly, errorlessly would be better with that kind of technology. For example, the deed to your house, or like Will said, a textbook.
It's worth noting that in the textbook example, which is a great example, one of my favorites, it also opens up the option for students to peer-to-peer trade textbooks instead of having to go through the intermediary of the bookstore and get absolutely hosed after however much they spent on the book, which is a cool little side quest. But also just in response to that specific question, because it's a really good one. The image itself, if we're talking about like a classic JPEG with an NFT attached to it, like your standard profile picture NFT, that image, the JPEG, lives on a server somewhere.
Yeah.
And the JPEG can go away. In fact, most of them, the overwhelming majority of them, live in Amazon S3 buckets. And if someone stops paying the subscription to that Amazon bucket, those pictures can disappear. But the token itself cannot disappear. The token is on a blockchain. There's two pieces, right? You have the thing, the digital property that the NFT is representing, and then you have the NFT itself. NFT is on a blockchain. The picture, the song, the audio file, the whatever it is that the NFT is attached to lives on a server somewhere. There are decentralized server and hosting options like IPFS, which people do also use for NFT hosting just because it's much harder for those to disappear, but IPFS could still have a problem. and those images could go away. You could also restore those images. And you can also do things to them. It really depends on how you build the collection. There's a lot of flexibility there. Like originally when we were first making NFTs and stuff, we created a permission structure with ours wherein we had the permission to change the picture so that people could upgrade stuff if they wanted to. You know, which is why ours were on Amazon, because if I put them on IPFS, then you can't go back and change them. So you really start to fall in the weeds there, but it's an interesting little rabbit hole.
Yeah, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I actually will post an article in the community about a piece of, I don't know if you'd call it journalism or performance art, done by a fellow called Marlon Spike a little while ago, where during the first NFT boom, oh my gosh, screen share, they replaced a popular NFT art with a poop emoji, just to demonstrate that, yes, in fact, the token is a pointer, usually to a highly controlled centralized web file that one person owns, that you can't do anything about. And they made the point that, like many popular NFT collections at that time, sorry, Will, I just wanted to zoom in on poop, were in fact this way. So I'll put that article in the community.
You can go back and like look in old dead wallets that you can find through OpenSea with dead collections, and you'll see just like a whole bunch of broken image links on those old things because people quit paying for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't know though, because I don't look at that. I don't look at that anymore. There's too much lost money in my NFT wallet from 2020.
Yeah, triggering, right?
Don't come for me.
Okay, and if you are not in the community yet, I see like Arthur in the comments. If you're somebody who hears me say that, but has never actually taken the time to go to the link and join the community, you're in luck, because I'm going to say it again. Wherever you are, whenever you listen, if you tap the link in our bios, any of our bios, any of our socials, you will be directed to community.rumshq.com. Did you know it's totally free to join? You can write a whole essay. You can attach screenshots and pictures when you ask us a question. You can drop a video in there. We even have every Thursday a show after the show where you can get on a video call with us and just talk to us. Totally free. If you're not in the community yet and you're trying to learn crypto with us, what are you doing? I tell you, because it's true, the only thing missing is you. What do you got, Will?
I just want to say, Arthur, I see your comments here asking about your Ondo position. Again, I was just going to say, hop into community.rumshq.com. It's free. Ask us your question there, because that's a perfect question that we can address in the community. And again, totally free to join. So
yeah, hard to find a position or figure out what happened to it in a TikTok comment, and we want to help you. Alex, I know you died on a hill this weekend because there was some drama in DeFi that exposed just, I don't know, for my money, how far we still have to go.
Yeah.
Do you want to read people in a little bit on what happened and why it got your knickers in a twist?
Thank you for that.
Twisty knickers over here.
Thank you for the twisty knickers visualization.
It's Alex's new nickname.
This was a big old bummer, just because honestly it's embarrassing. It's not really like bad, it's just like really disappointing. And I don't enjoy watching like billion-dollar companies squabble in embarrassing ways, because it just makes us look stupid. But in short, there is a public baby feud going on between like a couple members of management or leadership on the Solana side and Jesse Pollock on the Base side, about a bridge that was built between Base and Solana. And right now it's very firmly in a he said between Jesse and Vibhu, who's one of the managers, works sort of with leadership. It's very hard. I actually don't really know. He's like a total troll, and whenever he describes his job, he just says it's a mid-tier manager, but his profile picture has also been him in a McDonald's uniform before, so I genuinely have no idea what this guy does at Solana. But he's pretty prolific. He's been around the block. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. He's not like an inconsequential person. He's been all over the place. He's done some pretty big things in his career. So he and Jesse are arguing about the sanctity of this bridge. Jesse says that we tried very hard to work with the Solana team to build this. No one was really that interested in it, so we just went ahead and did it. Vibhu says, Solana says basically that no one ever reached out to Solana to ask them about it. which is a very embarrassing position to take in my humble opinion, because it's that you don't have to. I don't need to call and get Solana's permission to build something on Solana. That's kind of the whole point of like everything we're doing here. Tons of people build tons of stuff on Solana, and I can't imagine that they all have to like call and get a permission slip from daddy to do it. So this was weird. It was very obvious that Solana was just butthurt because Base built a bridge and they think they're going to try to like siphon liquidity and users and builders off. To which my response was like, okay, that's a valid concern. You're not allowed to be mad at Base about it. That means you need to go do a better job to make sure your builders and your community members and your users are not incentivized to bounce. And this whole thing has just been escalating. A friend of mine, Crystal, got sucked into it. Not Hedera Crystal, different Crystal.
I was like, all right, Crystal.
No, she. So Crystal is a friend of mine who works in Web3 branding, marketing, and she has a podcast that she's working on, and she's worked on brand image and all that social media kind of stuff before. And she had some hot takes about the whole thing, and then got into a little bit of a spat with Solana leadership, who was picking on her for her opinions, which I'm just like, this is a really weird. It's like, you don't pick on pundits, especially if they're just like sharing an opinion, because those comment sections were full of opinions. Anyway, I don't really know where this drama is going, but like the fact that it continued and has been escalating, and now basically every talking head on crypto Twitter has shared their opinion on it, and I've only seen like 3 relevant ones. Not to toot my own horn, but mine that this is embarrassing. I feel like that's justified. Mert from Solana actually had the only like sensible reaction from the Solana side that I saw, even though I think he was kind of trolling a little bit, when he was like, everyone is all butthurt about this bridge between Base and Solana. Why is nobody talking about trying to build a bridge between the trillion people not in crypto and crypto? Which nailed it. That's my question. Like, why are we fighting each other when we have plenty of people outside of the industry that we should be more at odds with, instead of cozying up to, Wall Street the way that some people in crypto leadership are? That's a story for another time. So anyway, it's there now. You're read into what's happening on crypto Twitter. Yet another reason why I don't think it's super worthwhile to spend time over there unless literally you work in the industry. But
even then, it might be a good idea to just chill.
Even then, yeah, it mostly just wastes my time and makes me mad. So I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of look at the whole situation. I'm just like, hey guys, remember when we all like were holding hands, being like kumbaya, like all blockchains will connect to each other, and like it's gonna be great and wonderful. That wasn't that long ago.
We really truly need to get back there, because in a world where at the same time that this stupid little spat is happening, Brian Armstrong is just like on stage with Larry Fink, and I'm sitting here asking myself, like, is this really truly like what we want? Is this it? Because in my head, back in the day, do you guys remember when the original conversation started about institutions getting involved? And now it's just sort of become this tired mantra that means absolutely nothing because, hey, spoiler alert, they're here and it's fucking awful. Wherein we were like, yeah, for sure, if they want to like come in and buy our bags, then that's cool. But now we're like literally reshaping the entire industry to cater to them in this like desperate hope that Big Daddy Warbucks like starts buying more crypto. And I don't know, the whole thing is just like horrendously embarrassing for the entire industry, like everyone in leadership who's like making it easier for BlackRock to do more stuff. Why are we BlackRock fans all of a sudden? Like, can someone riddle me that? Like,
because they were supposed to buy our bags.
Yeah, because they were supposed to buy our bags, and turns out instead what they did was just buy all the infrastructure for the bags and then screw all of us for that's what they do. That's what they do. So I don't know. The whole thing is just like awful and stupid, and I'm saddened by its existence.
We let in the greatest market manipulators in the world, and they're manipulating our markets, and we're going, no, you were, oh, damn. And, there we are.
Evan, official request to have "I'm saddened by its existence" clipped on the soundboard.
I am a big fan of this.
Yeah, you got it. I am saddened by its existence. Going on the soundboard. Pivoting slightly away from
Wait.
this,
I would like to make a pivot
Pivot.
that is slightly related because it is just the next adjacent island over. And it is, speaking of institutions here and things that we were hoping for, Michael Saylor has acquired 10,624 Bitcoin for the price of $962.7 million at a price of 90,615 as of like a handful of minutes ago.
did you do the math? How much per Bitcoin? 75?
No, 90,615 per Bitcoin. His current average is 75K or so.
Oh
but
my
they
gosh.
just bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. So now they have acquired 660,624 Bitcoin for a total of $49.35 billion at an average price, I have it for you here, 74,696 per Bitcoin. So
Michael,
another thing we were
stop.
hoping for was companies coming in and buying Bitcoin. Well, unfortunately, there's just one Bitcoin company really doing it. Unfortunately, that makes them an easy target for someone like Jamie Dimon to go after. So hopefully things are just fine when it comes to January 15th and Morgan Stanley potentially votes to kick them out of the Morgan Stanley Index Fund, which would trigger $3 billion to $8 billion of immediate sales of MicroStrategy stock, which might put them in a position to then have to sell the Bitcoin that they just bought.
If you're a strategy bull, this is great. If you're a Bitcoin bull, I feel like this is...
You're just getting more nervous.
Not
You're going,
ideal.
cool. Hey, if you could buy like just all of it, and then never sell, that'd be great. But you can't. So I'm just nervous now, even more so for January 15th.
Yeah. Oy.
But hey, I mean, he's sticking to his guns. If you were worried that like they wouldn't have an opportunity to find more money to keep buying Bitcoin, well, they keep finding $1 billion to buy more Bitcoin. So.
Like, seriously, is that what they did with their Fidelity money? You know, we were talking about that last week. They moved this money over to Fidelity. We were speculating maybe
They
they'd
moved
sell.
Bitcoin over to Fidelity. They didn't move,
That was...
they didn't
Yeah,
move
yeah,
cash.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so... But what'd they move it there for? Were they getting a loan? Their whole business is like buying assets, issuing stock, presumably getting money loaned to them to go, you know, or sent to them for purchases of stock to go buy Bitcoin. Where are they getting the money from? I don't know anything about their cash on hand.
I don't know either.
It's no big deal.
Yeah. It's
All we know is they're getting bigger.
Yeah, their
Somebody's
Bitcoin bag
stopping.
is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, fingers crossed. Anyway, what was your next thing you wanted to take it to?
My pivot was going to be to answer this question about DeFi Carrot's new turbo feature that we got over the weekend, since we touched on them. Alex, is that something that you can talk about? Because I have not touched it yet. I don't know anything about it, but I would love to hear about it. You want to read people in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will start with a disclaimer. Two disclaimers, actually. One, this thing is risky, and we'll explain what the specific risks are. It's also really, really, really cool, but gotta understand the risk. And two, I don't have the deepest understanding of it yet, so I'm gonna give you my first impression and what I found out so far, and then I will leave you with the fact that one of the coolest things about my job is that when I saw this feature and I was like, that's cool, I texted the CEO and said, can we please have a meeting, and can I bring you back on the show so we can talk about this cool thing that you built? And he said, yeah, hell yeah. And so he and I are meeting in like 5 hours, and then I will have a lot more information about it. So yeah, sometimes it's good to be me.
Again, it's we love DeFi Carrot. It's just like we should talk about it less so we can get a sponsorship.
Well, here,
we
let
talk
me tell you,
about it every day for free.
DeFi Carrot
But
doesn't.
it's so good. It's so
Right,
good.
like, what are we going to offer them?
And we're gonna offer
at
them.
this
We'll
point?
talk about it the same amount because
We
Listen.
won't talk about you less. Yeah.
The reason that our sponsorships actually mean something is because we will just talk about the stuff that we think is cool. And
this is true. Yeah.
companies should work with us because it makes it better for everyone, and then we can actually earn a living for doing what we do. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to talk about cool shit if it's genuinely cool.
Exactly.
Also, DeFi Carrot doesn't really make any revenue, so I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to get a little creative and come up with something else, because I don't
Free
wanna-
merchandise. I want that hat.
Give me some carrot merch. That
Give me that
is a
carrot merch, dog.
non-negotiable. Okay, so I'm gonna screen share this thing really quick and just show you, because honestly, it's a pretty good little interface. Here we go.
Here we go.
So let's actually back it up one screen here.
We'll turn.
Turbo Soul.
Okay, so they have 2 Turbo tokens as it stands. This is another reason that this whole thing is cool, and Turbo is another sort of similar to DeFi Carrot's other tokens, CRT. These are very unique ways to use a token that is not like you go buy it and swap it and just like pray that it goes up. Like these are very specifically built to do a very specific thing, and then you hold it to get that very specific thing. For anyone who's like a utility bull, this is kind of the definition of a token with actual utility, not just one that like tells you someday you're going to be able to, I don't know, pay for your gas with it because some gas station's going to agree to it and call that utility. That's bullshit. So Turbo, basically what it is a token that is a wrapped, leveraged long position, meaning that DeFi Carrot is behind the scenes using a vault structure, which is the part that I don't fully understand, and that's what I am getting. That's what I'm basically talking to JSB today about, to figure out how exactly it works, what the safeties are, how the what the audits look like, all that kind of stuff. So these vaults manage these leveraged long positions, and they range between 1.1x and 4.1x. That's kind of the fluctuated range. You do not control that. You just let the vault manage risk and rebalance itself appropriately depending on what markets are doing. What you do is swap, in this case, Sol for Turbo Sol, or CB BTC, which is wrapped Bitcoin, for Turbo BTC. And that gives you access to this. So here's, I snagged a little bit of the Turbo Sol for this example, and it actually ended up working out for me because, as you can see here, there's my last buy, and here we are. So good job, Alex. But basically what you're doing here is you're getting access to a much harder to liquidate leveraged position that you just have to hold and sell. You don't, or hold and trade. You don't have to manage the risk at all. You don't have to rebalance anything. You don't have to worry about a liquidation price. It's much more resilient because of the size of the leverage that's being used and the way that the vault is managing it, which again, that's the information that I still need to flesh out a little bit more. But it's pretty sweet. So basically you would convert Sol to Turbo Sol and hold it. And then when it goes up, your wins are magnified. And if it goes down, your losses are also magnified. So I mentioned risk. At the end of the day, this is putting an intermediary layer, a decentralized layer, between you and the leveraged position. But it's still a leveraged position. So if you buy it and Sol tanks, you will lose money. This is also not liquidation proof, it's liquidation resilient. So in my humble opinion, based on what we saw on October 10th, for example, if something like that were to happen, I think these positions could be in danger of being liquidated. I don't know how that would, what would happen if that happened, but that's again what I'm trying to find out. So, stay tuned for part 2 on the nuance here, and then of course we'll get JSB back and he'll talk about this. But it's pretty sweet. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah,
And,
we'll be able to have like a nice, easy, simply used like margin trading environment that protects you a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's definitely a good place to start if you're interested in getting into leverage.
No, it's super cool. I would say that if you want to try leverage, try it for real, and you want the baby step, this is the baby step. But like I said, and I cannot stress this enough, at the end of the day, it is still leverage trading. You just don't do all the work. And so the risk that accompanies leverage still exists to some degree.
Yep.
And if you want to try it for yourself, you're listening in podcast land, the best website to visit is use.deficarrot.com. They've got great docs, simple explainers, and they've got other products too, like the CRT, the Carrot token that we're always talking about, that you can use to earn simple yield on Sol. And speaking of ways to earn yield on Sol, let me do a quick shout out to the partners that make this show possible, starting with Jito at Jito.network. We are also powered by partnership with Arculus, the official cold wallet sponsor of Rise Up Media. Polygon I was struggling to think of what pitch I wanted to give for Polygon because there's a lot of good stuff. You could start doing DeFi by staking your Matic. Great first experience. But you also could just talk about it and teach others about it, because without having to use any crypto products at all, you can make user-generated content about Polygon to win a share of a big prize pot. Unlock Protocol, we have a meeting coming up with them a little later today where we're going to talk about taking some of our membership experiences on-chain in a cool way that'll be fun for you. And, of course, our friend, the White Whale. And Magic asked about this earlier, the White Whale and what's going on there. So I am going to pivot us over there in a minute. But, Alex, I saw you wanted to talk a little more about Jito. And I wanted to remind the audience that you can find all the links for all of our sponsor partners, and in fact, some other good tools like Carrot that don't sponsor the show but could, and that we just love to use and think will make your crypto journey easier, better. You can find that, and since somebody was asking about it, you can also find the link to buy the official mug of the official morning show of the Financial Revolution. I'm talking about the Rise Up Morning Show Edition 2 mug. 3 sizes. They all make your coffee taste better and the morning look brighter, along with our sponsorship links and the link to join our community at rumshq.com. You want to take us on a little Jito drive-through?
You're muted.
Yo, you're muted, Will.
What a nerd. Yeah, I wanted to, this was another, I posted this on Twitter yesterday, just describing what my very specific and now I think streamlined DeFi route is every time I do something on the Solana side of DeFi. And these exact routes exist on other chains as well, but I'm going to give you the Solana route, the one that I use here. So I'm going to do another little quick screen share, Evan, and run through just a couple things. So to set the stage, every week at least, I make a measured move into more of a crypto position, which always looks like stablecoins. Every week, I buy some more USDC on at least 2 chains that I'm using regularly. That being Solana and right now Base ETH. Base USDC. So on the Solana side, I'll take that money, I will buy some USDC with it, and then that USDC splits off into several different pieces. And so I want to, this tweet here that Evan has on the screen is my exact route. That USDC on Jupiter, half of it goes to buy Sol. I just use Jupiter because the fees are super low. It's super fast. I've never had an issue with it. Killer UX. It's super easy. Big fan. From there, I will take that Sol and I'll go over here and stake it on Jito because I really want access to Jito Sol, their liquid staking token. And so, again, super simple. Literally just go to the website, click stake now, connect your wallet, pick how much Sol you want to stake, you stake it, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. That in return gives you Jito Sol, which is basically a specific kind of token that marks how much Sol you have staked and still allows you to then go do other things with the Jito Sol. So because I'm trying to learn how to make that even more efficient, I then take it one step further. And this is one of the cool things about Jito. As soon as you hit stake now and you stake a little bit of Sol and it gives you the Jito Sol back, it asks you, okay, do you want to take this further with DeFi? And if you say yes, you go to this page right here, which I sent them a message saying I would like to help specifically with this because this is kind of a cool feature, but it's like tucked away in the corner and I don't like it. So first time in DeFi, here's a dictionary, here's some safety tips. Cool, I want this bigger over here and I want it to have more information and like more resources and stuff in it. But the rest of it's pretty cool. And so, but I just think that like if you were brand new, who I think actually this product is like very specifically built for, like someone who has started DeFi, has like the fundamental understanding and then decides like, hey, I really want to step this up because like I can put my money to work even harder for me. How do I do that? Then you would come to this page and I just think it's confusing because it's like a lot of pairs that mean nothing to you and a lot of protocols that maybe you've never heard of. And there's tooltips and stuff here, but like they don't really say anything super helpful. So anyway, I went to this page here, and I was like, okay, cool. What can I do with this to like boost, the amount that I can earn with my stake? How can I make my stake do even more for me? And I just went with the first one because I recognize this pair. So Jito Sol and Sol, this is the pair that I have that I can use. TVL, there's a ton of money locked in this specific protocol here, so it's more secure. Just means it's less likely to have a problem. Still possible, but less likely. It's Kamino. Kamino is huge. It's the biggest borrowing and lending protocol on Solana.
And the biggest beefer with Base at this very moment in time.
Kamino's the one that's beefing?
Yeah, it started with Kamino, dude. It started with Kamino. That's all I'm saying.
Damn it, Kamino. Okay, well, shame on you, Kamino, for that, because that's embarrassing. Be better. But you still have a killer app, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then I hop over to here, and this is what you see on this side. And I went ahead and already tossed in a Jito Sol into a position just to kind of show you what it looks like when something is active. But this is what the dashboard looks like. And again, I think this could be a little bit clearer, but it's not terrible. And actually, shout out to Kamino, because there's this thing that's really, really cool that they have, wherein before you sign a transaction on Kamino, you have to agree to their terms and conditions, one of which is I took the DeFi quiz and I understand the risks. And they actually have on their documentation site like a quiz that you can click through and answer questions on based on what you should have learned when you read their documentation, like their white paper, light paper, and they have like a really good explanation of impermanent loss. They have a really good explanation of all sorts of the risks associated with DeFi and staking and how it works. It's actually really, really good. Okay. And shout out to Kamino. And Jito, that's what I really want to help Jito with, because they're the perfect place to put all that education and just be the like ultimate gateway for, like Solana DeFi for a person to be able to go from level 1 to level 5. So anyway, did that. This is kind of a neat little thing. Evan, shout out, has done a really, really great explanation. Evan, is it in a playlist somewhere, your impermanent loss breakdown?
Impermanent loss. It is almost certainly on my TikTok playlist called How Learn to Use Crypto, but I, as of this recording, will find it and repost it in the community.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really good video. I definitely recommend watching that and getting an understanding of impermanent loss. We don't need to go into the whole thing right now, but definitely put a pin in that term to look it up. It's a complex topic, but it's unbelievably important and is absolutely integral to the workings of DeFi if you want to level up and kind of get to that next stage where instead of just supplying collateral, you can provide liquidity, which is a way that you can earn very high yields, but they require some maintenance and some management. So it's important to understand the risks and the how it all works. But this is really funny. I have to give a shout out, because if you look at my position over here, which I just took half of my Jito Sol position in this wallet here and staked it, which, as you can see here, is let's see where we go. Okay, 5.18 Sol. I've already earned 7 cents in JTO interest. I did this last night, so overnight. So first of all, they're paying you interest like I think every minute. It immediately popped up as like earning. So I think it's like one every 5 minutes. It's certainly more frequently than every hour, but pretty sweet. And basically what I'm doing is I am effectively providing liquidity here between Jito Sol and Sol, but because Kamino, our homies, they've added a feature called single asset deposit, where I only sign a transaction to deposit one asset and then they manage the pair within my confines, which is pretty sweet. So it kind of takes away, it's sort of like what Turbo Sol does for leverage trading, this does for liquidity providing, wherein it kind of just puts me in a chunk. It's much more conservative, like my range is much bigger. I'm not quite as tight on the liquidity providing range, so I don't earn as high an interest, but it's safer. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, in addition to, compounding my stake here, I also earn JTO, which is Jito's governance token. So that's neat. But anyway, from there, then of course, like we've already said before, the rest of that USDC goes right into DeFi Carrot and into my savings account over there, earning, whatever their interest rate at the moment happens to be. You will need a VPN if you're using Kamino in the United States. Big sad. but it's not that hard. VPNs are a dime a dozen now, so
Very
everyone should have one. If you don't have one, you should seriously look into it. And dude, I just realized, why have we never like tried to go after a VPN? They sponsor stuff all the time.
I love my VPN, and I also use them as my password protector. I use Nord.
Okay, I just have the Brave.
I use Proton.
Interesting.
We could go after 3 great companies, guys.
Nailed it.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could.
Whoops.
Alex, there's a follow-up question really quickly.
Yes,
Unless you want to, if you want to screen share something else, do it. But I was thinking Will's arm is tired. The question is, how much money do I need to start? Or would you recommend I start with? Can you speak to that person?
Yeah. How much do you need to start? Like a couple bucks. You could do this with $5, and it would exist. I always say to people, please remember, percentage is percentage. Please don't bully yourself, and please don't let anybody else bully you into thinking that you don't deserve to try this stuff or use DeFi just because you don't have enough money to make the APY return $1,000 a week or something like that. I'm not a wealthy individual, and I use this stuff. I kept myself out of it for a long time, thinking I didn't have enough money to do it. Any amount is a worthwhile amount to put to work for you. Your money is important. You earned it. You have it. It should be allowed to work for you instead of working for somebody else. The hill that I'm currently aggressively dying on is that we effectively earn money and then we give it to a bank who basically just uses it to make themselves ludicrously wealthy while giving us nothing in return. So the short answer is you don't need much to get started. How much do I recommend? I recommend starting with whatever amount you're comfortable with. If you're new and you think this is seems weird, I don't know, this is risky, what's an amount that you would be comfortable spending to learn something? If that's $20, then do $20 and see what happens. And if you screw it up, you lose 20 bucks. But if you start like this and you follow some of these steps and you come here and you ask us questions, please feel free. I could literally talk about this all day, every single day. I could run a 24-hour live stream just talking about getting into DeFi. You're not going to lose it. But it's worth it to get started. And that's it. Don't let anyone bully you, and certainly don't bully yourself into thinking you don't have enough money to play in this pool, because everyone deserves to be here. That's the whole point.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
I will die on this hill.
Thank you, Alex, for dying on this hill. We have another question coming in from the comments. This is on Facebook specifically. We had someone who wanted to know, they're new to crypto. This is Jimmy Joe. Hello, Jimmy Joe. Thanks for the comment. They picked up an Arculus wallet. Should they stake from it or use a different wallet? And that depends entirely on your setup. Who wants to take this? Will, do you want to speak a little about maybe the difference between using an Arculus wallet for long-term storage and using one for DeFi stuff, and why you probably shouldn't be doing a bunch of on-chain stuff with your Bitcoin for retirement?
So I might not be the best person to ask here, because for me, I never use anything that's on a hardware wallet for anything. So I don't have experience doing a hardware wallet to any type of DeFi. And there's a reason for that. Yeah. And I'll explain my reasoning. But to answer your question, should you or shouldn't you? It's not really that's not really the question isn't should you, right? Or the answer isn't really should you. It's just kind of a preference. So let me explain why everything that I have on a hardware wallet, I don't touch anything else. Because for me, anything that I put on a hardware wallet is just to keep it safe. And I have long-term conviction in that thing, and I do not want to expose that to anything else that could potentially be a risk. Because when you go and use DeFi, even if a DeFi protocol has been around for as long as DeFi has been a thing, like 2020 or so, there's still a software risk. And if there's new DeFi, there's even more of a software risk. There could be a hole in the code, there could be a bug, there could be an exploit. The team might be nefarious and they're playing the long game, right? There's always a risk. So when I put something on a hardware wallet, I'm not, that wallet touches nothing other than my on-ramp, off-ramp, right? My exchange. So from a security standpoint, that is my policy. So I never have my hardware wallet touch anything. But that doesn't mean you can't, right? You have some additional security protocols and safety features there by taking a hardware wallet and going and using DeFi as opposed to a hot wallet. But in terms of the actual functionality of it, I'm not quite sure myself what that experience is like, because I haven't done it, nor will I ever do it. So I use hot wallets for that purpose. Just, wallets that are like your Metamask or your Phantom wallet or your Coinbase wallet, what have you. That's just on my web browser. It's on my phone, and I go and do stuff, right? That's what I do personally.
I would also add, you could use, if you just preferred the user interface of a hardware wallet, or you liked the idea of keeping your keys offline, you could buy multiple hardware wallet products. Some wallets allow you to have, remember, let's back up a little and remember that your wallet is not the place your crypto lives. Your crypto doesn't physically exist. It doesn't live anywhere except on a record called a blockchain. Where you access it is any different interface. Could be an app, could be a physical device that securely stores a piece of information called your private key. And some devices allow you to have locked and loaded, sort of like separate firewalled private keys to effectively manage multiple wallets. Arculus, I do not believe, is set up in such a way that you can have multiple seed phrases, multiple private keys on that wallet. But what you would do is you'd just buy a different Arculus card, and you'd remind yourself like, oh, this is my Arculus card for staking. This is my Arculus card for my long-term holds. It manages the keys to my Bitcoin for retirement. This one manages the keys to my, we call it DeFi. Anytime you're going to use a protocol like Alex just showed, or go stake some stuff or whatever. And Arculus specifically even has built-in ways for you to stake certain assets right through their app interface directly on your wallet, so you don't have to go to another website to try and find this. Or if you find out about a website that's got a particularly good deal, you want to try this Jito, Kamino, Jupiter, DeFi carrot thing, then the cool thing about Arculus is you own those keys, you own that crypto, you can log in and connect your wallet to any website. But again, like Will said, if you're holding something safe for retirement for the long term, don't go around treating that wallet like it's okay to plug in. The same way you wouldn't walk around with your whole net worth on your person when you go out to buy a movie or buy dinner. You just take a couple bucks from the bank, You would never want to go around plugging in your wallet that's got all your most precious keys just everywhere on chain. Really good question there. Fellas, it's about that time we start thinking about final thoughts and riding our dogs and ponies into the sunset. Will, I heard you say something there, so I'm glad to kick it to you. I do want to talk a little about the white whale and the white whale token. So what have you got for me, brother?
The only other thing from like a news standpoint that came out this morning that is worth noting, because I know a lot of people have bought Ondo and may still have an Ondo bag, meow, and that might have or might have interest in it, is that the SEC has ended their lawsuit against Ondo this morning. Awesome. That has been a ongoing thing for about 2 years now. So the SEC has finally removed that one. Took them long enough, honestly, with all the other lawsuits that they ended. So that is officially done, gone, and toasted. Whatever word you want to use. I don't know. Toasted.
Toasted. Yeah. Sorry about that, giving you cats and cows. You can have dogs and ponies. You can have cats and cows, but either way, we're going to get our show on the road here in just a little bit. So if you've got a final question, a suggestion, a good joke, or word of wisdom, then let us know. It's always great to be here with you. Now, our friend Magic brought it up, but we need to do some disclaiming. That over the weekend, we found out a lot of things happened, guys. I don't know how to introduce this. Somebody recently. Let me start with the facts and start at the beginning. And Alex, then I'm going to kick it to you and let you die on a hill about what happened. We found out that somebody had used our friend the White Whale's image to launch a meme token called the White Whale. As often happens with crypto people, celebrities, public figures, somebody tries to create a meme tied to somebody who is themselves a meme, meaning a cultural unit of attention. A meme token is it's a way to give velocity to a meme, to give it monetary velocity. Somebody gets their wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl, launch a token about it. All of a sudden, people will speculate on that thing. They will be able to buy and sell and trade it on the value of the attention that thing has. Somebody figured out how to do that for the White Whale, and at least for the first time, a token using their intellectual property had some escape velocity. And so they did not launch this meme themselves. We know the White Whale. We know their wallets. We know they didn't do it. they, in an attempt to control their public image, is the thing they've said, decided to take over the token, which was launched on pump.fun. They have a community takeover feature, because when you launch a token on pump.fun, you don't create the smart contract yourself. You don't get a private key the way you do when you launch a token manually or on other platforms. They have the private keys for you, but they direct fees generated by the trading of the token to the wallet of the person who launches, or we say deployed it. So the White Whale petitioned them to do a community takeover, said someone is using my image, this isn't right, it's, you know, my legal property, and they redirected the fees to a wallet that the White Whale controlled, effectively allowing that wallet to take over the token. And now they've created an account about it on X so that people don't make the mistake or go to the wrong thing. And then somebody said that we were involved with it, and there's all kinds of misinformation about this. So, Alex,
someone said we were involved with it?
Yes, Alex.
Wait. Oh, right.
Tell him about it.
I'm actually pretty pissed about it because it's
Alex is
ridiculously stupid. I'm not gonna pull any punches. They did it to themselves, so I really don't give a shit. John Whalen posted a video saying that Evan and I were the devs of this meme coin. Unequivocally untrue. Causes a whole lot of potential problems. I am a pretty aggressive opponent to creator-led meme coins. This one is no exception. I'm pretty upset about the whole thing. I'm disappointed. I think that it's a bad idea. I don't really appreciate any particular angle of this entire situation. I certainly don't appreciate someone defaming me, my partners, or my business to get themselves some attention and use it to enrich themselves. The video also then stated that it was going to rip, it was a guarantee, and that they had personally invested a lot of money into this and they were going to make a killing. Unequivocally untrue. I don't have a sense of humor about shit like this. I'm really not the guy to fuck with. I have an attorney for a reason. I immediately took all the documentation I needed and then immediately trapped him into admitting in a DM in text that he made the entire thing up. So buttoned that whole thing up, bundled it, sent it to my attorney. Fortunately, John took the video down. I don't think that he understands why I'm angry about it, which makes me more angry. But just to be crystal clear, we had absolutely nothing to do with this dumbass coin. I will not have anything to do with it. I will never launch a meme. Evan will never launch a meme. Anyone who you ever see telling you that we are involved with the running or the curation of a meme token is lying. And I would appreciate it if you would let me know, because I'll absolutely threaten them and file charges and a lawsuit if I have to, because I've built my entire reputation in this space in not doing shit like that. So if someone decides they want to lie about me for attention, then I will come after you. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I don't give a shit.
And I don't even know how to launch a meme. I know it's easy. I've never ever even woke onto the site to do it. So I'll be over at the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. Robot Steckler says, I'm launching a dolphin meme.
Hey, go for it, buddy.
Listen, anyone is free to launch any token they want and suffer the consequences or reap the benefits. You know, go off, do your thing. Leave me out of it respectfully.
Yeah. In the interest of giving people good information, you can find a good link to learn more at the White Whale's profile. That's the White Whale V2 on X is probably the best place, because then you can copy, you can paste. They have a pinned tweet at this moment in time where they announce the official Twitter handle, which is White Whale Meme. That has the official contract address. And I really want to be explicitly clear. I am not advocating you buy this token. In fact, as far as I am like legally allowed to tell you, I don't buy it. Don't buy it. The thing I said to the White Whale, first of all, the White Whale also, you know, we should say this publicly too, because they were talking about it. The White Whale had a bit of a minor health scare. Everything's totally fine. And so I reached out to them because I was worried about their health. And then as I was like, checking the tweets and stuff, I was like, oh no, this meme coin thing happened. And I was worried for them because I don't want them to risk their reputation, their most valuable asset, on an experiment that will go so poorly. They have publicly said they would never launch a meme. And the reason we talk about never launching a meme token is because thinking you can own or control an idea when it lives publicly on the internet, especially the crypto internet, where nobody needs your permission to do anything and where censorship, when somebody has an internet connection, is non-existent, is like thinking you can control the thought in my head. This is the freest, except for that information has ever been. And so when you give a token a form that only allows people to give it life by buying and selling it against each other, you ensure that that's the only way for it to live. And as long as the meme, meaning the idea it's attached to, has attention, people will continue to buy and sell that thing. And some of them, by definition, will lose money. When the attention is gone, everybody loses. But most of all, the people who invested heavily. So there's no good way to attempt to control the meme. And there's no good way to try and ease the suffering and pain of those people. The best thing to do, if this happens to you, if you become a crypto or otherwise political, etc., public figure, then you should just let the thing die.
When Will paused, I'm pretty sure we lost.
Pretty sure
audio.
they lost me. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at that. He got the Arculus link though.
I was following your instructions. I didn't
like
realize
that.
I was pausing the
Nope.
live.
No
okay.
problem.
Also, good morning, AAVE. Hello,
Oh, hey,
AAVE.
look.
Nice to
Good
see you
morning,
guys.
It's
AAVE.
AAVE.
Yes, our friends of the show at AAVE. Just use AAVE.
The size of the decentralized cojones that the protocol has to have when your slogans just use AAVE and there's objectively nothing wrong with it?
Yeah, Alex,
right.
I think you said the other day it was a. You didn't hear the sound, but it's a flex.
Yeah.
It's a flex. So to put a wrapper on this thing, though, if this should happen to you, if you're AAVE and somebody makes an AAVE meme token, the solution, if you want it to go away, is to stop paying attention to it. That is how you starve a meme. It is like a barnacle that attaches itself to the lifeblood of an idea. And as long as people are giving that idea attention, the barnacle subsists. Yes, Alex?
I was just going to say, your explanation of the whole thing was very eloquent and you nailed it. The cherry.
But
that
bring
I
it
would
to the
put
people.
The cherry that I would put on top is creator coins always go to zero. It's not a good model. We keep trying the same model over and over again instead of changing the model. I will be interested in them when someone genuinely tries to change the model and do something different. When they just keep launching the same shitter on pump.fun and expecting this one to be different, I think you're an idiot. And I don't have any respect for it. And I've seen so many of them go to zero. Pick your favorite influencer who launched a meme, okay? Any one of them. I don't care. Literally any one of them. Go to the chart and tell me what it looks like. Any one of them. And then go look at that creator and see if they disappeared. Because I've seen so many start the meme the same way as everyone else's shitter, think theirs is going to be different. It goes to zero. They give up and leave because they're burnt out, and now everyone hates them.
Or they just keep making new ones.
Or they keep making new ones. Yeah.
Or they
and then
keep
they change
making
their
new
name
ones.
online. They're like, nah, that was made by that name. This is the totally new
Actually,
one with the totally
dude,
new name.
Alex put some salt on it, but I need to say this too. What's the token? What's the one that Sage is doing right now?
QBS.
That John also made a video about. John Whalen, I am putting my hands around your beautiful face and I'm shaking you with all the love, but also the firmness of a disappointed father. QBS. If you see a video about this token, okay? QBS. It's a total scam. And the thing about it is, it's not a scam like Fartcoin 9000, Elon's baby. It's nothing like that. It's designed with a really insidious narrative that's like, hey, QBS is this deeply integrated, adding utility to XRP. It is designed to sell people who don't know any better a buzzword, prayer, and a dream. They're supposedly got an app and they're integrating with all these different chains. There's all this utility, but it is a well-manufactured total scheme perpetrated by a known scammer who has gone from token to token to token to token, just taking people's money. Their name is Sage, Crypto Sage, Sage Universe, I think 26 or something is their handle. If you see a video about QBS from anybody, even if it's our well-meaning friend John Whalen, that person, that's not your teacher, that's not your friend. There is no ending for that except for you to lose money.
There is an ending.
There is
one
an ending.
ending.
It is
you will
the
lose
end.
your money.
Yes, of your money. Yeah.
I was telling Evan the other day, like, given the fact that we have proximity now, like more so to Commissioner Peirce and to people who work in enforcement, I would love to help drop the hammer on people like this. And like Sage is a great example of someone who's like flagrantly committing crimes on
like
a
a
regular
serial
basis
criminal,
and documenting them on the internet, on social media, and has never suffered a single consequence, and people keep giving him their money.
Yeah, it's also another crazy thing where it's like, why would you use our likeness and our names and our business to try to validate your own meme coin to make money when we are friends with an SEC commissioner? Like,
right.
All we have to do is make a phone call. We are right at the top of the line of getting you hosed. Why would you do that? Think a little bit.
We talked about beekeeping with the commissioner, for God's sake. Okay, we're pals.
It's literally just, you shouldn't do that. I'm going to do that. Okay.
But no, definitely
Peirce.
keep committing crimes, slap my face on it, and then post the documented proof on the internet where it lives forever. Definitely keep doing that.
God. We are friends, basically, with an SEC commissioner. Oh no, my light! I hit it.
Well,
it
and
doesn't
two,
make sense. Why? Oh God.
This particular video had the download feature turned off. Okay, took me one extra click to get it, and now I still have it.
Yeah,
So.
screen record, and there it is.
Rip.
Anyway, I just want to give my comments about the white whale meme coin thing. It doesn't make much sense to me, and I do feel like the white whale going and buying and taking control of the meme coin was a reflexive kind of reaction that was just kind of like the wrong path. Because like if as you said before, if you want to take control of your PR because someone made a meme coin of you and you're some popular person, a celebrity, or you've become a big influencer or what have you, you just ignore it. You just ignore it. And then also, if you were having some bad PR because of it and you're like, well, I want to take control of it and control my PR, taking control of the meme coin just attaches you more so to the meme coin, creator coin, and 99.999% of all meme coins just absolutely just really go to zero. And like Alex said, you can look up 99.99% of all those charts and it's not good. And then your PR is just worse. And then all of a sudden you're the person now who actually lost people money because it's your coin. Like it's just a bad move. I hope he's able to, make something good out of it, but it's just like the odds are just really against you when you try to hop into that vehicle,
Yeah, the reason that's true is because nobody owns a meme. That was a really clear way to say it, Will. When you try to own a meme and influence a meme in a central way, the only way for a meme coin to reach escape velocity, think of all of them that have Doge, Pepe. You might put Pengu in that category. Sure, Luca is the CEO of Pudgy and Igloo and Abstract, but the reason Pengu as a meme succeeds is because many, many people, like collectively the people, feel like they each own part of the intellectual property. The meme gives all of us a mechanism by which to share something that we can own collectively. Nobody owns Pepe. Sure, you might argue that Elon Musk owns Doge, but it's a fluid thing. The narrative can trade off. If there was another celebrity who became like the Doge father, then they could own it. They could own the narrative for a moment in time. It's a fluid thing. It's impossible for one person to try and put their hands or a container around. Even more because it's digital. This is the evolution of value on the internet. And you have to understand it this way if you want to play that game and succeed. It's not enough just to try and buy the right thing or, throw some money at it. Do you guys have final thoughts on this, or would you like to give another final thought? Because I know we got to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset.
Yeah, I think just final thoughts in general will be good.
Yep.
And I was having this conversation with one of my friends who is a multimillionaire. And he started a business, sold it, started a business, sold it. He's a multimillionaire before he turned 40.
Is he looking to adopt a 35-year-old with 5 dogs?
No, he's looking to buy a second sailboat.
Is his name Schmilliam Schmatzen?
No, he is not Schmillian Schmatzen.
Tell him I'm real good with charts.
Yeah. But anyway, and he just keeps making more money because he's a lawyer. But anyway, so
Never mind.
yeah, he's fine. He doesn't care about charges.
What kind of lawyer?
He's hell if I know. If I know.
Damn it,
People
Will.
go, I'm a lawyer, and you go, oh, that's cool. No follow.
You're total grifters.
Lawyer, that's nice. You make money. Do you want to talk about Warhammer 40K? He's like, I do want to talk about Warhammer 40K. I'm like, good. This is what we talk about right here, baby. But yeah, so I was just chatting with him, and I was, he was just talking about something that I've known for a very long time, where he's just like, yeah, man, like having all this money is great, but it kind of sucks. And I was like, honestly, man, having that amount of money would clear up a lot of problems that I have. It'd be great.
Tell him I will help
And
him
he goes-
shoulder that burden if he's
and
looking
he
to.
goes, no, that's not what I mean exactly. It's just that like I've spent all this time, like I've built these 2 businesses and sold them and stuff, and you know I'm a lawyer and yada yada yada. These businesses were a side gig, and yeah, or they were apps, whatever they were. Anyway, sold them, made money, and he goes like, yeah, dude, but like my knees are both shot and like my back hurts and like I can't really see well because I stare at a screen all day. And he's like going through all these things. I'm like, oh man, you gotta like focus on your health. He's like, yeah, dude, I got this money, but like my body's like really totally gonna be like shit out by the time I'm like 55, 60. And so it made me think of like other people who have made comments where like they're all older folk and they're like, you know, it's like, oh, like what are the regrets you have in your life? It's like, oh, like you have all this money and success or whatever, but it's like my body's broken. And it's just like, you know, we focus very much so on making money in this space, and making money can often seem like that's the thing that'll make you happy. But like I would have a much higher quality of life if I was just like middle class, lower middle class, but like I felt good and I could get the most out of like my daily life. So it's just a reminder. My final thought here is like take care of your physical health too. You know, like if your heart health is shit by the time you're 50 and that's when you finally make it in crypto, you can't really do a whole lot. If both your knees are shot out or like you can't really walk around because you weren't really staying active and you have a bunch of money and you can retire early, guess what? You can't really do a whole lot when you retire early. Like your physical health and your mental health are the 2 most important things to really make sure you can enjoy a high quality of life. And that at the end of the day is probably the biggest driver why we try to make money in the space. So this is a really long final thought, but it's just like I wanted to provide some examples of people who have a lot of money now or people who are older and have a lot of money. And the biggest complaint is just like, yeah, I can't take advantage of it. So, you know, make sure all the time you invest into learning about crypto and investing and tweaking your strategy and all that, make sure you're stretching a little bit, get a walk in the day, eat a couple of vegetables, you know, all that kind of stuff.
It's a beautifully profound final thought. Alex, have you
Yes.
got a final thought? Because I have a good final thought.
I'm anxious to get to your final thought, so I will leave mine at agreeing with our friends AAVE in the chat to say that DeFi will win. DeFi is inevitable. Someone asked about narratives to keep your eye on. And as per even what Coinbase Ventures is looking forward to next year, they publish a little piece at the end of every single year with, you know, what are their narratives to watch for the following year. Interestingly, they put, how did they phrase it? They said they had DeFi. DeFi was one of their categories again, which is so bullish because it's been the category every year forever, and it is inevitable. It was like deepen DeFi. It was like, you know, getting away from just like the surface level kind of like nonsense and like having a firmer understanding of, you know, doing all the intricacies and the inner workings of like what makes DeFi protocols work, which I just thought was a really nice way to phrase it.
Yeah, they had like specialized exchanges, RWA perps. They talked about composable perps. It was a lot of like really niche.
Perpification of
stuff.
everything was one of the categories, but also
I've seen that one a lot.
Deepening DeFi, and it's worth pointing out. Banks do this stuff all the time, and for some reason it gets a bad rap when it's DeFi, and you should ask yourself why that is. And then I will tell you that the reason that is because now you're doing it. And that hurts the bank's bottom line. So of course they're going to tell you it's a scam. So don't listen to the bank because they don't have your best interests at heart.
It was a good final thought. You said it wasn't even that great, but let me tell you, I've got a couple of final thoughts. But since our friends AAVE are in the audience, we got the message that there was a little surprise in my DMs, and indeed there was. I mentioned in Buenos Aires that I got to go to a lot of great cultural exchanges, a lot of wonderful talks, but probably the most fun I had in Buenos Aires, and I think a lot of people feel the same, was at their rAAVE event. I'm talking about rAAVE. And I was there with our good friend Stella Achenbach from Unlock Protocol, who we're going to see in a little bit here, and AAVE has got the receipts. Just look at these fun photos of me and my friend Stella. Will you hit him with the screen share?
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in podcast land, you're going to have to come over to YouTube, search the Rise Up Morning Show, and just look at this. We were a couple of rock stars this night. You know what I mean? I had the AAVE bandana around my leg. I had the polka dot Labubu. I have never been a Labubu guy before, but just look at that. If anybody can give Alex a run for his money with the black and pink wardrobe, it's Stella.
Yeah, no, she wins. She definitely wins.
She definitely wins.
Evan, I have to say, I'm profoundly disappointed at the lack of fishnets in your rAAVE attire.
You know, I was going to wear, I have this tank top that's got these wonderful holes in it and like mesh, but it was not the move. The colors of the sun was the dress code. And if you were not wearing the colors of the sun, you got turned away at the door. And I was not trying to mess around at the best party in town. So shout out.
Orange fishnets. Come on. I could do this all day.
So shout out AAVE for hosting not only the best party in town, but a great platform, super secure. We're going to have him on the show to talk more about it. You know we've shown him. Just use AAVE. It's not sponsored, but it could be.
Also, their TikTok page, if you want to see a good example of a crypto corporate account actually getting into TikTok, and I would say just social media in general, in a good way outside of Twitter, they've got a solid one. They're just like educating people about like the history of money and just like why it's important to know this stuff. I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah, the gentleman over there who performs their videos is Nick, and he's excellent. I will say though, AAVE and Nick, I would make a bet with you for at least one AAVE token that if Nick just got on camera like this and talked to the people in his beautiful, wonderful, silky voice and said, you know, I work at AAVE, or have you heard about DeFi, and just talked to the camera, no edits, I guarantee you that video, I would bet it'd be the best performing video on your account.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Just saying.
1,000% would be.
Out of his pocket, talking to the people as if they are talking to AAVE personally. That will make people feel like, oh man, I've got so much access. There's a great video of Brian Armstrong where he like sets the camera up and it's kind of shaky and there's like 5 seconds of silence and he's like, hey guys, it's Brian, CEO of Coinbase. And that video did numbers because it's got Coinbase on it and you feel like you're talking directly to the guy in charge.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Do it with Stani. It would be the move. It would totally be the move. And and we got to go. AAVE, you're keeping us. We're having fun. Listen, come back tonight.
Our final thoughts last like 15 minutes.
Yeah, our final thought is join us tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, when we return with Luca Netz. He's the CEO of Igloo Abstract Pudgy Penguins, and it's going to be an awesome conversation as we ask him about the building of a brand and intellectual property powerhouse in the Web3 space and beyond. In the meantime, if you didn't get your question answered, if you want to find past episodes of Rise Up or catch the links to AAVE, our sponsor partners, and so much more, head on over to community.rumshq.com. My friends, the only thing missing is you. Until next time, everybody, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. My friends, stay safe, be well. Everybody, rise up.
Have a beautiful day.